Artist SEAK Claus Winkler. Well, I still paint after 35 years. This video is an art performance as well as a piece of art on its own. Yes, I'm looking like I was shocked when I put out the camera. Yeah, that's the heat. Yeah, now I'm sitting here where it's cold, so it's refreshing. So yeah, my eye is kind of like it's going down. So yeah, I had a conversation with AI about how what should I talk about, and I first thought about my 90s and 2000s graffiti memories and stuff, nostalgia, but that is counterproductive for maybe future collectors or anything. It's AI's opinion, but AI is like yeah, I'll say that, a propaganda instrument. So it came up with how I see society today. Well, I can't talk about society either, because society is atomized. And I today had again a conversation with a few liberals here from the area, like boomers. And was trying to wake them up. And I warned them up front, like, hey, la-di-da. And then, no, it's okay. And I was like, oh, it doesn't make sense. And then, yeah, come sit with us. And, well, you know. So society is cooked, Germany is cooked, Europe is cooked. And I mean, the last 4 years, I every day was studying what's happening right now and learning about politics, social dynamics, psyops, NPCs, the right-wing camp, liberal, all the words, the tiny hats, everything, the waking up process, the slave trade, who dominated the slave trade, all this stuff, all this stuff the Victor's truth, the guild cult, the right-wing forfield, like for the last 4 or 5 years, like every day, like from morning till the evening. At this point, I don't know if I would be like a good politician, because politicians also need other skills. Yeah. Anyway, so I had no clue that how cooked society is. With society, I mean the European part of the population. Yeah, and this society will in 20 years, we have a caliphate here. So in 20 years, it's I have probably then must have left this area and live probably in Switzerland, or I don't know. The question will be also where most of the Germans will migrate to, in which areas, and will it be inside or outside the EU. So and this video is still about art, because I mean, if I talk about where I still paint since 35 years, and then how I see society, well, it's a form of escapism from society. And now, well, everybody is waking up except the boomers and the liberals, which is the same in a way. Not necessary, but majority, or a large majority. Yeah. I mean, the people who buy my art are individuals and rich people anyway, or people who have money. I mean, what also had like lots of clients in the past which doesn't had so much money. So I'm not like a musician who has to cater to a public taste and stuff like that. The good thing with my paintings is I can write flight in another area. So yeah, why I still paint since 35 years, because I'm in a work rotation, and my paintings are growing steadily. For example, this painting here, I built the canvas. It's a wooden plate with a canvas in 2010. It's from both sides, and since then it's steadily growing. And I probably will paint on this piece also in like 15 years or 20 years, just because I have a few pieces where our rich people can choose work to buy my art, and there's always really paintings I have to continue painting. Um, I don't expect to be in any museums or large collections. Yes, foundations maybe, but more like selling to rich people directly, because museums are leftist, anti-white from the system, and they must cater and kowtow to the ruling ideology, and that will be then leftist, and then the religion of peace, and then some kind of like religion of peace Bolshevism, you know. So yeah, I mean that is the mid or the end game, unless like Europeans can turn the tide around. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm in this trying to wake people up, telling the truth, being speechless, stoked, or not speechless anymore. No, I mean, no, I'm not. I'm still verbally. No, they say like I'm like talking myself into being speechless. There you go. Like when I was 8 years old, my first publication, I was in the Stadtanzeiger, in the local German newspaper in Cologne. I was trying to wake people up. So with a painting, with a patriotic or nationalist painting. So yeah, defending Europe and Germany, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, for me, life. For me, this is like this aesthetic painting, the styles, the forms, the pictures, the images. That's like a Lebenselixier, like a life. How do you call that? Like a life, like for an alcoholic, a liquor or alcohol it is, or for a drug addict like coke or anything, or you know, it's like the essence of life, you know, like beauty, style, and also compensating or not compensating. I'm getting like overwhelmed with informations, and I'm bounding them and digesting them, filtering them together in my paintings and creating something equal or remodeling something similar. I mean, my forms, they are based on letters most of the time, but they have also this must-have item thing, you know. I mean, it's not a ladder. Most cases, people don't see a ladder. They don't see a tank or a super cool car or vehicle or construction machine or military thing or knife or gun or object or phallus or sculpture or watch, timepiece, jewelry. I mean, the word jewelry, you know, it's a little bit out of place, but you know, the personal, you know, it's like this must-have item, personality, or the self projected into an object, kind of perfect painting thing-ish, how you want to call it. This has, I'm creating this, or like a mixture of all your favorite spaceships and sci-fi comic aesthetics all in one, you know, including all like forbidden or allowed or whatever, like political or historic ideologies, aesthetics you prefer, like everything in that thing, hand painted. That is like how what is also happening. My foundations are always the letters SEAK, or most of the time, but then it develops into something, you know, and that all in the same moment. So yeah, so this is for me also visual escapism, holiday, life. It's like similar with like if you live like a druggy lifestyle or a party lifestyle, and people doing it so often that their personality, then their true personality, which they have predominantly and have cultivated the most, is the person then when they're like on the weekends, just for example, are like for 3 weeks, on 3 days on a row on drugs, on all the, you know, multi-toxic la-di-da, and then they're like fun and happy and talk and chat and this and connect, blah, 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 blah. And then they have like their personality alive, and when they're sober or not doing anything, and they're, or sobriety, or we're gonna call it, they're a different person. They don't have any access to that part of the personality. And maybe that's the same on a visual level with my paintings, but I also must say that I rarely look at my paintings consciously if I have painted them. I mean, I had them here in my house for like now 4 or 5 years in a Petersburger hanging all the rooms where I was during the day working or being, and I could watch them. And for me, they're also all a work in progress, and there are just very few pieces where I'm like, wow, you know, because yeah, I can keep on painting them. Plus, they all have two sides, so I'm like, okay, it's like, and then of course when I'm working one piece, it's a steady process. And for example, this piece here in the background, I didn't have watched it for like consciously for let's say 1 or 2 years. And now I had it here in this room, and I was like, okay, now I'm pleased watching it, and I'm positively surprised. Because also I need to not see a painting from me for a while, which is on a high level, to then liking it again, you know. And I say liking because in the word liking there's also a lie, because I have to lie to myself to like my paintings, maybe because I'm so critical, or when you do it all the time, it's like when you are like a sex worker. I mean, are there still so much into sex? I mean, maybe I'm just overheated from the heat or anything. I don't know. I'd still have enthusiasm for paintings, or for my paintings, when I'm painting something new, or I surprise myself, or I have a new idea, or a new painting, or a totally different direction, or different media. Then, of course, I'm enthusiastic, you know. But it's just it also represents my my actual or mood I'm having right now. So yeah, I mean, it's like, for me, it's like always keep on keeping on, you know, and progressing my work. Regarding society, when I talk with like normies, I was with like, I would say boomers, aka liberals, aka leftists. They are lefties as well as boomers or liberals in how they vote, or how they, the amount of children they make. I would consider them by the result of their actions anti-white. So, and in the past, I mean, this topic is already a topic since I'm more or less, with other words, since my childhood. So these days it becomes, because the effects of their behavior become more and more evident, and the people who are, you know, replacing us. So the cognitive dissonance costs go higher, which means it gets higher. It's more difficult, or takes more effort to. I mean, I'm awake, so they have voted for this, for everything is happening, and they are at this point blatant, also guilty in what is happening. With, you know, I could come up now with examples, with all the, in Germany simply saying Einzelfälle, which like things which just happened one time a year, but now they're happening like every day, like 30, 40, you know, knife things, or yeah, struggles, mass struggle sessions from adults with females who are too young, way too young, or you know, and then against their will, la-di-da. And yeah, and they're ignoring it, la-di-da-di-da, and they're completely not, like, yeah, they don't care, they're completely are, I want to say it without a no. The boomers and the liberals, they equality regarding that their own ethnicity or culture or heritage is, you know. So why should I care then, you know? And and plus the Germany have drinking the Cheerlings Cup. So in terms of demography. So in 20 years, I mean, maybe a wonder is happening. Putin is pushing the buttons, and it's all 5D chess, trust the plan, bro, la-di-da, you know. So, yeah, I mean, in 15, 20 years, maybe I should then have a new second passport in another country. And yeah, so, or maybe even earlier, depends, you know. So for society, so I'm keeping myself separated. But I also have to say, I'm awake now since the JPIL since 2.5 years, and thanks to HT's Omi TV videos and those flyers, or especially the flyer with the mess and that one NGO from the with all the lower NGOs. And before that, I was like 2 years, 3 years ago, woken up. I mean, I was always awake, but I was also traumatized by what Merkel did. So the point is, before that, I didn't have any contact with people because I was living a very low, simple lifestyle, way below poverty line. And that shaped me and kept me, I would have anyway kept on painting, onto just painting here in the studio. And living very, very, with very, very less money, like say 50 to like 20 to like 80, 60 bucks, 50 bucks a week for food. That's it. No internet, or internet just, then less food. And I was eating carbs, so. But I kept on having my 10 to 12 hour everyday painting. Maybe one day a week, like going on a hike, because a friend took me and we went hiking. That was for a few years. Every now and then, because I had sold a painting or had like a wall painting project, like a mural request, that was like money then for a short while. So I was like completely like avoiding society. Just if people had like substance for me, money, then I would connect. Also, that's also for self-protective things, because it's an essential thing to live. Plus, a collector, like from the large art world, told me like years ago, shady person, also, not holding his word, la-di-da, anyways. He told me like, never be close to the folk, niemals volksnah, or, never appear that you are a man of the people, or something. You have to be like elitist, la-di-da. Well, also because then they pull you down, If you are like have a high social status, people are in their ego, and then they pull you down to that you're on their level or below their level, so they can feel better. Robert Greene, So and people just give you just as much as they themselves value, a little bit less. And and if they put you on a pedestal, and I talk about this reticular activation system, and if you're not then on that level, then they're like angry because they adored you for so many years, blah blah blah. So anyways, or not adored, but so you. Plus, I'm busy with painting in the studio anyway all the time. So And now I reckon how society is, how people are. Then you have like hidden jealousy and blah blah blah, and everybody is like ducking and cucking away regarding freedom of speech or the absence, and everybody is like, like boomers, like most people, the normies, the herd. I'm doing this all for my forefathers, or our forefathers as well, our ancestors, and future generations of those we have from blood, that's important. Pro-white, like pro-white people, and then the color white, not providing, it's. So anyways, I'm saying this because with art, you also have to integrate society in a way. I mean, also the people who have the money for buying paintings which are in progress growing for like 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, from two sides, you have to have a budget. They live also in their gated communities. They have like private schools or private teachers, la-di-da-di-da. So who am I talking to here, So I'm living for my art, and of course I want to make lots of white children, and then the question is how to keep them out of the system, When I see videos sometimes, I'm just, the other day I was watching a video, saw by surprise a TikTok from a blonde American woman, white woman, shooting like bows, super confident, free, like definitely not liberal or anything leftist, unhinged, country girl. And when I compare that with here in Germany, how indoctrinated the women are and the girls are, how I look is how I think and how I feel. It's not about me. It's about this is also a piece of art. So consider it like this. If you see something like this, it's like you're watching into a painting which is into a certain topic or meaning. I'm in the character. I'm going all in. I'm in Tropic Thunder. I would say I'm going in full retarded, or if I quote a meme from the other day, I'm full goitarded, or I'm going in full goitard. So I didn't even know that what a goy is like. I think like a year ago or something. It's just like a new word. I mean, yeah. So. Society. Yeah, I'm like most of the time I'm busy painting here, or I'm online, on Telegram and on YouTube. I mean, YouTube is owned by the same people, Yeah, and if you dig deep, I mean, I'm influenced now by this conversation I had this morning. Yeah, but it's a reality check, It's like they have like all these base boomers, which are also awake from all fields of life on Telegram. And then you have those boomers I'm not there anymore, but on Facebook who are like exchanging cooking recipes and are completely brained. There's nothing, It's just football, beer, a little bit of celebrity gossip, the weather, that's it. And what the state says, and that's it. And that's it. And then the Verschwörungstheoretiker, there's a horizon. I mean, I can tell, so they, so my art is for those other white people who stay, or like with wealthy nuns from outside, from other countries who are living in their countries and want to afford it, and that's it. So the question is, yeah, I mean, it doesn't change anything. I mean, it changed something in my art, how I'm producing my art, because now since it's this sort, I have like, I would say since 2 years, maybe 3 years, I'm recognizing, wait a minute, that upper middle class, educated Bürgertum in Germany, like citizens, educated citizens, like, where the daughters can play at least one instrument, speaks German, English, and a third foreign language, usually French, high educated, well traveled, multiple children, la-di-da, museums, art. They're never, I thought this also in other videos. I told this already all, They're not there anymore. That's from the past. I will continue painting here. I will continue painting on like I don't have to make a video about this. This is like already like kind of weak or kind of like to talk about this. But the only thing which changes I will paint more like larger paintings, and I probably won't paint them on a frame. Maybe when I'm painting outside, but inside I will have them on the wall, or probably a frame and then I put that off and when I'm going inside and when I paint it all day. Yeah, so I can roll them in and store them better. That will be the difference. Plus, in the future, just large paintings and everything will they be movable, so I can resettle into practice white flight, because that multicultural whatever Europe the boomers are wanting, or not even thinking, they don't think so far. They can have that, but without me, nope, thank you, not interested. Which is, I don't have to even say that, it's like ridiculous. So let's talk about my art, or why I'm still painting. Is a stupid question. I'm still painting. It's like I'm painting all the time, I have also phases where I have to organize other things around painting, of course. Preparing things. So, yeah, the question is what I will paint on these large paintings. When you talk with boomers, I reckon how on that frequency they are mentally, and they're avoiding, like the cat avoids the water, new informations, deeper knowledge, or the truth. They don't even ask any questions, and they fight fiercely against any truth, and they directly go on resistant mode and then try to attack the person, or try to establish that their moral is the only moral, and completely not think about that morals are individual, and I think it's good moral to not self-preserve. And when you talk with them about this, oh, it's you're anti-white, anti-German, I'm talking about German people, boomers, then they get angry a few minutes later. And if you tell this, they say it's the usual pattern. It's every single time, Yeah, so why should I paint paintings for people like that? I mean, they are not the buyers in the end. The buyers are wealthy people, So, so I probably will integrate into my art red pills for noticers, so that I force people into the situation that they have to explain what this means, and then it gets interesting. Just to, like Immanuel Kant said, this also East Prussian, that if the truth kills them, let them die from the truth. So, but at this moment, for example, the paintings you see here in the background, they are abstract. I mean, not abstract, they are like saying the letter SEAK in variations. And also parts of the elements which are developed, which are not saying the letters anymore, but are based on how I paint those letters. But this is just a few. So at the moment, it's not saying that, but maybe I'm painting in my style, or in a readable version from my style. Certain content into my art, so it forces them to reflect that, or maybe questions, maybe just little things on the third or second view, just because of boomers. Germans will be a minority and a tribe here in Germany, and whites too, unless so I have to consider that in a way. I mean, all the paintings are transportable, movable. How can I, with all knowing all this, and I'm not saying here anything, I'm just already mincing my words and not, what should I talk about, why I still paint? I mean, this is ridiculous anyways. And how I see society, I mean, so where will people, when we are a minority and we recollect somewhere and resettle somewhere, how we will perceive my art, and how is my art then bringing some kind of value? My perception from my art is that my art, I'm influencing the universe and the people. I see everything I'm doing is a part of a code, or a matrix programming, how I can steer the world. And my perception, my art, and what I'm doing is steering and influencing the world. But it does this in a, from my point of view, positive way, but also in the negative way. Because every signal, every word, every information has multiple levels and multiple interpretation things. It's like a module with its own embedded commands or programming, and other people take this up on different levels, and it works. It works on different levels, and I see that, or I observe that in the world, with politicians, with activists, with patterns, with companies, with things happening in the world where I see, they're influenced by me, by my name, with my paintings, or just by my name. It's like an intuition, And unfortunately, I didn't came up with a way to monetize that in any way or shape or form. But the influence is crazy, and that is also acknowledged by in a way, the political enemy. I mean, I was on an event a few years ago here, and I had this conversation with a woman from one of the old political parties, and I talked to them, and then she was then, but she saw that in a positive way, that it's like a strong influence, and she respected that. I was like, but I mean, she know that, they all know, but it's like, if he is doing this, then it will steer the ripple effect in this direction. I don't know, but it does then things which are what I think it's good, but also what is bad. And I always learn new when I do this or that, and it has an effect on the universe. I learn always how the universe is interpreting that, or how I'm using, for example, now words, but words have their own different life or their own ways, and they're like so many, and they're connected with everything. It's by one crazy and always surprising, and you can just see that with laughter or with humor. I don't know. So originally I wanted to talk about the 90s and 2000s, but AI said, it's not a good idea because of the possible future, maybe art collector, rich people buying my art. So they're not interested in that. They want to see my stance. My stance is being pro-white people, pro-right-wing, how you want to call that. Left and right is already Zionist separating whitey into two sides to then cook whitey and create chaos and nudge this and that, so I'm painting every day, persistent since 35 years. I have the same mentality, the same thing since I was a child when I'm painting. Of course, when I'm painting my typical styles and I'm paint light effects or shadows or drop shadows or certain things in my paintings, and then sometimes are in a systematic modus. It depends always on what program I have running in myself, because for example those like mechanical or mecha elements I'm doing here in this purple painting in large, here in the small reds, orange, all colors painting, they are also the same effects, but just smaller, and then plus there's lots of them. So it's like lots of work to do that. And then when I did like everywhere light effects on a certain level, I'm growing, and then I reckon it needs at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 further sessions with different colors and nuances to really take just the light effects to a certain level. And then I can work with shadows and middle tones and further other elements, and then weathering and stuff like that. So it's like, welcome to reality. I'm still busy in a few years with this painting. Plus I have but there's like a lot of other paintings I also must work. So plus I also want to start new paintings. Plus I love painting theoretically on walls. If some people request for an interesting project, but it must also make sense in a way. That's so. How can I create value with those videos here for you? I mean, I can talk about my mindset in the 90s. It was about having enough spray cans. I had here in this house a spray can room where I was storing spray cans, and I always had I bought like Belton cans, before that Spava cans, and it was like, I don't know, 400, 500, 600 spray cans here all the time, all kinds of colors. It was always a struggle to have enough outline color, or shadow color. I mean, I painted my first outlines with a dark color, and then building up the shadow from there. That was then usually the darkest color. So there was always, I always had 2 less real dark colors. And it's all self-financed from paint jobs, from commercial jobs, when I'm painting like for a company or business or private person something. And usually, the number was circulating and people giving calls. I became lots of emails from my website. Later, I had a computer. Before that, the ex-German finance minister, when he was like 16, was faxing me my emails every one time a week or every 2 weeks, and I became lots of like guest book comments and positive. That was important for me. Yeah, I was living for taking photos and then going every 1 or 2 days or every 3 days to the local photo developing service studio. I was living in another village, like 6 miles from here. If you it's the same district, but different town, different village. In a different town, a different village. Yeah, this house was for my grandparents. So yeah, from here I had my spray cans. So yeah, and then later I lived for a year in Cologne. But yeah, the police always thought I'm living in my old village, because they were like, one time the anti-graffiti police were like really ego prideful, like, haha, we just did a house raid at your neighbors and how we know where you live. And I was taking that on a cell phone I had. And I was like, yeah, right. And I'm sitting in Cologne. They didn't know, but it was illegal to do that. But, you know, now it's, I don't know, 30 years ago, so they can't do anything, you know. Yeah, so yeah, I had always had duffel bags with spray can, was traveling everywhere, was by train, or had like a friend who was driving. Yeah, painting on the weekends on walls or Hall of Fames everywhere, or yeah, or painting on hip hop jams. Painting on jams were like the greatest thing. Jams were like graph writers, rapper, DJs, beatbox. Everybody came together and we painted, or it was just jam sessions where it was majority everybody was painting. Yeah, and that was like, I loved that lifestyle. You know, that was like beautiful, best time, you know, golden age. They call it the golden age of graffiti, and I had the chance to experience it and meet like most of the people I had as role models, or their work I loved. Most of them I had the chance then to painting with, but also I loved without any like segregation or like other sorts. Those who I didn't paint it with. So it didn't matter, you know. It was just pure love for the art. Yeah, it was like a military discipline. I mean, people. I was never stealing spray cans because I wanted to have large amounts, and I'm more like then the organized guy, you know. So I hooked up projects, and I tried, you know, self-finance myself, self-sponsored myself. Yeah. Because with this, and when I painted for others, I had often contact just with the owners of companies, or within very large companies. Yeah, sometimes with what do you call it, Vorstände, which is like the chairman, board members, or then the middle management. But that was like, but I also sometimes had like people, like common or normal people from the street, who are, I want the room for my son painted or something like that, you know. It's depending, you know. So you meet like all kinds of people, and it's interesting people, you know. Like one time I painted for someone who was like a Stuka pilot in World War II, and I didn't want painting anymore. I was just wanting to talk with him about World War II, and he was like, oh, blah blah blah, and yeah, completely crazy for me to then keep on painting. Interestingly, that painting when I just reckoned this a few weeks ago, months ago, days ago, the painting reflected his World War II life. I mean, if you not with my artist mentality, I can now deduct those nuances in it. Yeah, so it's like always a reflection, or there's always. I mean, also all other people when it's like you have with people contact, and then you see like, oh, interesting, you know, and then you see like connections, and there's like deeper, the sublime, you know. So it was always about having good photos from the paintings or from the walls, but we just took the photos by ourselves, and it never had the quality of a photographer or anything. And that would be beyond anything. Lots of sketching and drawing and doing the work, like because it's when you, I mean, I was just I'm watching graffiti magazines, I'm sketching, I'm drawing, I'm on jams, I'm painting with others, I'm taking photos from the work of others, I'm driving to all kinds of legal hall of fames or awards where the other are painting and taking photos from the others. So it challenges you, empowers you, motivates you to give your best and to not give you like the optimal. It's always like so, and you never happy because you know how good the others are, and you love the work from the others. Like honestly, I mean, like you celebrate the work from the others because. So that you also wants to contribute and to grow and to get better, and then you chase the flow. I mean, am I lying here? This was an age. Of course, you can always do more, or not do more, but invest further time. I mean, what else? What was it? The 90s, the late 90s, 2000s. Organizing also hip hop jams or co-organizing hip hop jams. Made with a friend a graffiti magazine, one issue which self-financed. Or like giving others who organize jams contacts from other artists and connecting them with the really good people, which they would never then would have contact to. Painting on the event live in front of lots of people, then painting on the day after with the others, or with everybody, or also with the organizers. Forgetting to eat the whole weekend, or eating too much, forgetting to eat too much, and then or didn't knock one off for like 2 or 3 days, and then on the way back with the car, we bought like a happy weekend, like it was like a contact sex swinger magazine on the gas station. So when I was at home alone, I could knock one off and to relieve myself, because I reckoned, I didn't 3 days full on pressure, or we went then. Depending on with whom you were, went to prostitutes, like whorehouses, which is like a certain culture in Germany, but that also was a money question. And how was the lifestyle? I mean, getting magazines, sending photos to magazines, sending also photos from others to magazines, collecting photos, buying magazines on hip hop jams, and then watching them. That was like the most pressurous, like that was like the main focus. How can I describe the late 90s, early 2000s? Then in the late 90s, early 2000s, the exhibitions became more. There was also then exhibitions coming up with like showing canvases. I had like one time in the 90s an exhibition at the Museum König in Bonn for Jane Goodall, Gorillas in the Mist, Gorillas im Nebel. And then I had a request for the Documenta in the 90s, which I didn't rent. I thought, no, I don't care. So then it was always like, I didn't paint enough illegal, you get critique for that, you're not like gangster or illegal enough in a way. Well, then you paint like more style and being more innovative was the thing, a steady thing to grow. Visiting all kinds of cities. I mean, I went like all over Germany, then Belgium, Switzerland, Holland. Then there was a jam in France, in Dunkirk, or in Montpellier, 2 times Montpellier. Then later in the 2000s, Paris, a few times. London, or tours through England, visiting Shock, also connecting people with spray can brands and stuff. I had like contacts to clothing brands because I wanted clothes for myself, like for sponsoring, and then I said, okay, I can, with some brands, they are large enough, I can help my colleagues, and then I connected those brands with those others and made sure they also became something. Interestingly, in a few cases, I didn't even know if they said thank you or were like really grateful or thought that it was something positive. I don't know, maybe they were like jealous or were like ego because they didn't hook it up. I don't know. I thought I giving something into the scene, but yeah, I don't know. It's but also positive, you know. I mean, then maybe they didn't want to show it or something. I don't know. Or it wasn't something great because if you get like stuff, we get like a few things. Well, there's nothing, you know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just I'm trying to come up with things. I mean, this video isn't like not supposed to be about the 90s or the 2000s. I'm trying to get it like into this like lifestyle in a way. All my clothes had paint on. I mean, that was like something. Doesn't matter what I just. Yeah. My ex-girlfriend, then I met her in the late 90s. And then, she started to then do collect my Quittungen, the invoices from stuff I bought for the taxes, because I collected that all in boxes. One time I had Susan Farrell from graffiti.org from Art Cramps at my place when I was living in Cologne that one year. And then she was sitting on my computer and doing emails and checked something on my computer. And for me, that was like crazy. Like this woman, like the internet graffiti mastermind, godmother of graffiti, sits on my computer. And it was like surreal. I took photos from her hands touching the keyboard. It was crazy. And at one time, a TATS crew member in my flat sleeping on the chair because he was there with another friend. I don't know if I should name him here, from Germany, and because of the trade show, of the fashion trade show of painting walls and stuff. And then he looked out of my window and he said, "My place looks more like the Bronx, like the Bronx where he's living." Yeah, something like that. I painted during my army time on the army base paintings for the army and for my comrades there. And then the army commander was mad because I stole them all the newspaper article attention. And then the aides-de-camp, the majors and colonels said, if you do something to the painting, then you're on the first page of the local tabloids and stuff like that. Like the name SEAK Claus Winkler, Claus Winkler, it has a certain energy which probably maybe challenges people which are in their ego or on their power thing. I don't know. Depends. I don't know. It's also the Bundeswehr is cucked anyway. I mean, it's like the the 90s. Having roller paint for preparing walls, having enough caps. I had like a special technique where I cut like a hole in the cap of the spray can and then a hole in front of the cap so I could paint through it and have like a thinner line. But then the paint collected in the spray can and went then into a sock. That was a technique from Hex from LA, and I painted with that a lot, doing details, which was always very messy and a waste of spray paint. Um, these days the caps are so easy, everybody can paint and paint small lines. It's like, yeah. In the 90s it was like a challenge to be skilled enough to paint like in a certain color, or having a yellow tone covered, and which yellow tones are good and stuff like that. I painted often pieces with rest paints, so I came up with unusual color combinations. Yeah, and they're connected then on more different levels with the people or the viewer. One art collector or buyer for my art, who was a graffiti artist or writer too in the past, said I had like he's always thought I had like a very special, crazy, sick way of using colors, or unusual way of using colors or nuances. Yeah, so I love this color rush also. This is like indulging into colors. It stimulates something on my mind. Yeah, for me it was important to be in the media and the press, because I thought it brings me yeah, collectors or business or commercial jobs, however, or you want to call that. In the beginning 2000s, there was like lots of exhibitions on tours, international, like through America, Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, during the travels, I was living here, painting. I started living in this house, and I think in 99, 98 or something. Now it's 2006. Yeah. Yeah. Painting, sketching, persistent work, self-organizing, doing your own thing. Work. Of course, also wasting a little bit of time on the internet, but I would say I didn't have any. I still don't have a computer. I might get a computer. I would say from 2000, since 2008 maybe or 9, I don't have a computer. Circa, more or less. I don't know. Maybe 2000. Yeah, 2000. Every now and then I was visiting my girl or my ex in Münster. Yeah, I loved, for me, like flying or traveling into other cities. Painting there was always like a highlight, painting this city and this city, and painting a wall here and a wall there. That was always great. Always low budget. Of course, then sometimes there was money because I painted for someone like a wall painting, but it was, I had like a few times I was lucky with like larger projects, and then the rest, it was always running behind the money. So very thin. On the one hand, like avant-garde, lots of fame and reputation in the peer group, like global fame, like crazy, but also competition, of course. I mean, it's never enough, and but also blessed in a way. Yes, Banksy put us all from the throne. That was also the ego burst bubble. And then usually like running behind the money, or you had money, but then you didn't know how long it goes, like how long it holds, like when you have the next project in a week, in a month, in a year, in 2 years. So compared to someone with a regular job, it was always less. I mean, if you see it on a full year, plus you have to insurance yourself, But then you compensate, and you are in the ego and you are confident, and then other people, like for example a father who steadily brings in money, then gets angry and thinks, oh, he's arrogant, blah blah blah. I had like one time a little bit of success again, and then because your surrounding reckons how you are, and then when you have like a little bit of a peak of success and you are confident, they are already memorized or are used to you on that other level, so they want you on that level back. And then they don't like that. So I reckoned at some point it's better to take myself out of certain circles, just so there is no social circle who's holding you back, because the group doesn't like if you want to make a jump from one social level to the other social level. But that was already later, I would say. But it was always like this knowledge was always there in a way. Plus, no one is interested in you anyway, so you have to keep on working. Yeah. And I painted always my own style. Most of those walls people know in public. They are like, I'd have chosen painting my own style, which usually then means that people reckon you get knowledge or known or anything or famous, and it has like also creates like an reputation value, but it doesn't create like that your telephone is calling and it's ringing and people want something I've painted, because for this you must keep, that was like would say late in the 90s to beginning 2000s, you must keep it on a commercial, low level, boomer, sheeple, normie, civilian, representational, naturalistic, non-polarization, convenient, decorative design, mural, whatever thing, and then I really never liked that. I mean, did also projects like this, or sometimes I turned those requests into something good. Also with the argument, are you testing me if I don't have any taste, or haha, nice trying, or sometimes you have to educate people, but sometimes it was like, okay, here it just makes sense to paint this. I take it up as a challenge to not just always paint my style, but also then that I can do something else, because I know then also that I have a learning from this, because I'm forced to painting outside of my comfort zone, which then is also liberating, not liberal. This is like something else. This is like a death cult. It's not the liberalism from from the 1800s, from like 1860 or something. It's different. I mean, like it's a free spirit or free mind. To painting something else without any I'm SEAK or I'm Klaus Winkler. Then in that case, I'm just painting them a commercial painting for money. And I make them a service. Are you happy? Okay, I'm finished. Okay, thank you, goodbye. And they're happy, and I'm gone. And I don't even sign it, or I'm signed with some other name, with some commercial name label thing. I think most of the time I took photos. But that was also learning, because I also painted other things. Plus, it forcing me out of my usual flow. And it also influenced me, also in a positive way. And sometimes there were like really good paintings came up with this, because when you don't have any expectations, when you're not having this burden or steered by the letters in your name, or by your name or the label, however, or your self-identity, then something really interesting can happen. And that is then surprising when you say like, wow, phew. And I usually have this also when I'm painting for someone else, a painting like on a paper or on canvas, where I'm like, he's lucky that we declared the price up front, because now how it looks that good, it must be more expensive, But yeah. So then Silvia always said like, yeah, you try to prove yourself something. That's why the painting looks then so good, and that is always the attitude with myself when I put in work. I mean, when I work, I'm proving something for myself. Yeah. And it would be also fun painting like lots of paintings with another persona, just making fun about myself as an alter ego. I could see myself doing that. On the other hand, I must also finish all these paintings here. Yeah, and nobody seems to care anyways. I mean, because of those websites or the magazines, and later the websites, and then social media. But in social media, my star was, in terms of views or likes or followers, it was success, and I had like this status and everything, but it wasn't as that career as I would love having it. Maybe also because then everybody already knew me in the scene, and and the way I'm painting, it takes also time, stuff like that. And the paintings are complicated, the screens are small, and there were like more people, and all those people who are inspired, they didn't needed me anymore also. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Persistence, painting persistence, discipline. But it does. It isn't. It when you are doing it like I'm doing it. It's not about discipline. It doesn't. I mean, I'm also I don't have any food discipline. So I mean, not enough. If I had discipline, I would have would work out, da da da. I mean, I will do this also in the future. I have already. Yeah, but the thing is, it's like a lifestyle. Like I'm indulged in what I'm doing, and then I'm just doing that. It's like a military, like guerrilla, if you will. I'm on a mission. Yeah. So and maybe I'm also. I mean, maybe I want. I don't know if I integrate my political meanings or opinions or in terms of self-preservation, la di da, in all my paintings, or just in some, or just on the back sides. I don't know. In terms of mission, because yeah, people you could criticize me. Yeah, he's on a mission, but it doesn't say anything, or my work is universalistic, or it can be interpreted in this or in that way, or just an indirect influence. Okay, maybe I will then, and also I have runes and how I sign my paintings. There's like other codes in my crew names I didn't even recognize since a few years ago. That this is like this. Oh yeah, didn't saw it like this. So, anyways, but the point is, maybe also will, yeah, it will be interesting in which directions my paintings are developing, because they're all a work in progress. I mean, this here the purple painting in the background isn't work in progress. But most of my paintings are, but those still they already look finished, and they already look like they are like a finished masterpiece you can give to a professional framer for, yeah, then showcasing it in an exhibition. But I'm aiming for like private collections or private collectors or art buyers or just rich people with money, because, yeah, so I also never. I mean, I just visited in the last 26 years just very few galleries. It was more like by coincidence or something, because like one artist friend was trying to convince me or what. But usually I'm like not going there. Why should I give them energy? I mean, they take away my energy. So I'm just realistic, like. So. Also, the word extreme or radical, it's a wrong word. It's a word from the Bolsheviks, from those who mass murdered like millions of Russians. And yeah, I came up with another word, clarity, Klarheit. It's it's clear, it's klar. So it also is in the word Winkler. So it's like a rational, cold clarity. So yeah. Yeah, it's a love for painting and for forms. When I'm seeing, I'm just right now I'm seeing this small e here. Yeah, it's a beauty for the character and the personality form can have or structure can have, and I can also see that in like sci-fi movie illustrations or art or anything. I mean, it's art, but I can see this in illustrations and everything and. I don't know. It's like when I was a child. Also, the expression and the character and the personality, the toy cars I had were speaking to me, because they all had like this, the face part. They had like a personality. The design of the toy cars. Each toy car had was a mixture out of a few things, and they all had personality and a character, and that was speaking to me on an abstract level and nudging me in a certain direction. So this is a video about my art and yeah, society and my stance or my opinion. Yeah. I mean, how can I paint my paintings or direct or steer my paintings in a way that it helps preserving white people or Germans or Germans, This is like the question. And how to raise white birth rates, German birth rates. However, on a direct level, on an indirect level, and how it can make white people be awake. This is the question. And this can be like on all kinds of levels, subliminal, blatant, direct or indirect, however. Or maybe these topics or themes are already in my paintings, because that's why I'm questioning or having this question how to do it. Can be also. I made this experience when I talk with people. Yeah, can you paint the painting like this, la-di-da? And then I'm now these days I'm like, oh, interesting. And I look at the painting, which is already there, and it's like, oh, he already talks about what he already sees in the painting. So yeah, hope this had some kind of value for you. Maybe a few close-up shots here for you. So, see you in the next video. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your support.